This is On the Subject, the show discussing film, TV, and beyond, with your hosts Logan NAUGLE and Zachary Jackson, featuring Malcolm Russell Nelson. Everybody, go with the theme song.
And we're back. This is the Paper Robots podcast. You are with Malcolm
and Zach.
And today we are going to be talking about the final chapter in our series in review for Mission Impossible. This is Mission Impossible Fallout, the most recent entry in the James Bond series. And who knows, maybe the best. I guess we'll discuss it here.
That's funny. I didn't realize until a couple weeks ago how similar Rogue Nation and Spectre are.
Are you serious? No,
Yeah.
I remember when they came out, because I mean, like they showed the trailers for Spectre first,
Yeah.
and then they started showing trailers for Rogue Nation. I was like, oh, those look similar. And then there was the whole thing about how they were supposed to come out pretty close together, but like Rogue Nation got moved way up, and I was like, oh, it's because they're similar. And Rogue Nation did what Spectre tried to do way better.
I didn't see Rogue Nation until it was like way later on.
That's right. That's right.
But
slept on it.
yeah. Yeah, the if we ever do a James Bond series, we can talk about that more.
Yeah. I almost don't want to, just because there's some real stinkers in there.
Oh yeah. So I think like the major flaw with Spectre is how they try to connect everything through Blofeld.
Yes.
Bad idea.
Yes. Even though the line is great, like it's still a tragically bad idea. But the author of all your pain line is really good.
Yeah. Even if they weren't like foster brothers or whatever, that would have made it so much better.
Yes. Yeah. It was so weird. Ugh, so weird. Whatever. But we're not going to talk about that because that movie sucks. This movie does not.
All right. Yeah.
Rogue Nation.
Yeah. So Fallout.
Fallout.
So Fallout takes place 2 years after Rogue Nation.
Yes.
And this one's kind of odd because it's like the first direct sequel, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like everything in this is really connected to.
You really need to see Rogue Nation before you see. This is Rogue Nation Chapter 2.
Yeah, exactly. It's like feels like the second half. Like.
Yeah.
It's interesting since they hadn't done that at all before.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it makes me curious to see what they'll do next.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's two years after Rogue Nation, and Ethan Hunt and his team are trying to hunt down basically the remaining members of the syndicate, and there's like a splinter version of them called the Apostles.
The Apostles.
And they're led by John Lark, who is a mysterious man. Yes. They don't know who it is, so they're trying to figure it out. And Ethan and the team, they're on a mission trying to buy plutonium so the Apostles can't get to it. And things go bad, and the Apostles get their hands on it. And because things go bad, the CIA thinks that the IMF basically
are incompetent.
Yeah.
It's just grown men playing in Halloween masks.
Yeah. So the head of the CIA decides to add like a babysitter to their team in the form of what's his name? August
Walker.
August Walker.
Augustus Walker.
Yeah. Played by Henry Cavill, who is my favorite addition to the series so far.
He is so good. I have a theory about him, but continue.
Yeah, so the CIA and the IMF, they're basically forced to do this joint mission where Ethan and Walker have to go to Paris to possibly stop John Lark and impersonate him to buy back the plutonium. And in Paris, they meet the White Widow, who is the daughter of Max from the first movie.
Yeah. It's weird how many people didn't pick up on that, apparently.
Yeah. Well,
that's like a hidden thing.
Yeah, to be fair, it's like 22 years later.
Yeah, but I mean, she keeps saying it. Like,
yeah, but
when they introduce her, she keeps saying Max.
Yeah, but I mean, like, say you've only seen Mission Impossible when it was out.
That's fair.
It's like,
that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. We did just watch it like last month, so
yeah. Like they don't show pictures of Max or anything, so
that's true.
But yeah, it's funny. She does say Max like 3 or 4 times in that scene.
Like she really hammers the point in.
Yeah, and so like while they're there, Walker and Hunt, they fight a guy who they think is possibly Lark, but is definitely one of the apostles.
Yep.
And Ethan has to pretend to be him, but their mask machine breaks, so he just kind of has to.
That's putting it lightly. To be fair, Walker breaks it because he's a hammer. He's an idiot.
Well, I mean, he definitely did it on purpose.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. But at this point in the movie, we're supposed to think that he's an idiot.
Yeah, and so
spoilers. Did we mention spoilers? Spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers. Should be
because we're getting down that territory.
Yeah. Also, in the bathroom fight, they run into Ilsa Faust, who kills the guy that they're trying to impersonate.
Yeah, with a sweet headshot.
Yeah, that fight's so good.
Yeah, the fight is really good. Did you hear the thing about that fight about the guy who played John Lark? So apparently there was an actor that they had hired to play John Lark, but Macquarie didn't like how he was doing it, so they just let the stunt coordinator be John Lark, the guy in the bathroom. So that's actually awesome. The stunt coordinator that they're fighting with.
That's pretty awesome. Which
is really cool. Because that guy, I think that's like my favorite. That's one of my favorite fights of the year, if not my favorite fight of the year. Like that fight is so good.
That's really good. I'd have to go back and think about other fights I've seen, but yeah, that one's really good. Like I wish it was
that
longer.
And like same. For me, it's between that and the first T'Challa Killmonger fight, the one like by the waterfall.
Mm.
Those are like my 2 favorite fights of the year so far.
Yeah, those are both really good.
Those are both really well choreographed fights.
I think as far as choreography goes, I would give it to the Fallout fight.
Yeah, that's a slicker fight.
There's
a lot of moving pieces in that.
Yeah, there's more people involved.
Yeah.
Also, I think it's shot better.
It's shot better. Yeah, definitely.
But
definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, so Walker and Hunt they meet White Widow and they basically team up with her to so she's got access to the plutonium and she gives them, so there's 3 plutonium ores. She gives them one as like a peace offering essentially.
Yeah.
And then she tells them how they can get the other 2, and they need to work with her to secure the plutonium, but only if they'll basically release Solomon Lane from because Solomon Lane has been bouncing between agencies like for the last 2 years. Everybody's just
everyone's had their hand with him.
Yeah, they're all interrogating him, and nobody's had any luck. And I actually don't remember why she wants him free.
That was who the buyer. That was what the buyer wanted. The person who actually had the plutonium, because she was just a broker. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So it was, yeah. And so they are on a mission to capture Lane, which they do, and they do it without killing any police, which is Ethan's big thing.
Yes.
And so on that, this movie also does something different from all the other ones, where it's got dream sequences and like daydreaming stuff. It's kind of interesting where Ethan imagines the whole thing where he has to kill all the cops to save Lane.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah,
then,
we're gonna come back to that.
Yeah. And then after around that time, Walker doctors evidence to make it look like Hunt is John Lark, and he gives that to director Sloan.
Erica Sloan.
Yeah. And so nobody trusts Ethan now, basically. And then after they capture Lane, they what is Alec Baldwin's Hunley?
Yeah, Hunley.
Yeah. Hunley shows up and meets them while they're like interrogating Lane. And then Hunley points out that Ethan is Lark, and there's this whole run around thing basically where they essentially just entrap Walker into admitting that he's Lark.
Yeah.
And then after that, basically, Lark's / Walker, his plan is to set off some nukes in where was it? India, like China border or something like that.
Yeah, Kashmir.
Yeah, Kashmir. So it'll irradiate like the biggest water supply in that area. Yeah. And
what's the line? You cannot have peace without pain.
Yeah. Yeah, they say it multiple times.
Yeah, I know they say it multiple times, and I can't think of what it is.
It's like the greater the pain, the greater the
greater
peace.
The pain, the greater the peace. Yeah.
And yeah, so they go to
suffering. That's what it is. I'm sorry, suffering. You cannot have peace without great suffering. The greater the suffering, the greater the peace.
So they go to Kashmir, where Walker and Lane are, and they get there and they find out that Ethan's ex-wife is there as part of like Lane and Walker's plan to try and just like stop him from stopping them, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Ethan chases Walker, who's got the detonation device for the nukes, while the rest of the team tries to find the nukes and shut them down. And it escalates into a big fight on a mountain after a helicopter chase.
After an awesome helicopter chase, yeah.
Yeah, that's a very basic rundown of the movie.
Yeah, that's a quick rundown, but that's a Tom Cruise speed rundown.
Yeah, so what did you think of the movie overall?
I loved it. I still love it. I've seen it twice, and every day I've literally been thinking about going again. I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
it's a lot though. Like it's a lot. Like it, but I think it handles. I think it handles its pace and it's a lot of content better than another movie that came out this summer. That was a lot and does not handle it well.
Which movie?
Avengers.
Oh, really? I think they both do it completely fine.
Really? I don't know. There's something about the pace of Avengers but to be fair, I think that about literally every Avengers movie. If I had to call it like 1, 2, and 3, there's just something about like the middle of the movie just like keeps going and going and nothing happens.
I've only got that problem with the second one with like the farm stuff and all that.
Really? Even the first one, like the stuff on the helicarrier is a little slow.
Well, see, I like that because they set up like the character interactions really well.
That's fair. That's fair. I don't know what it is, but all of them just have something that slows for me.
Yeah.
And they try to fill it with like, zing big pow, It's just like it doesn't work.
The biggest thing I have with 3 or with Infinity War is like the Thor scene with the hammer. But I was gonna compare this.
I think you mean what's his name's finest role ever.
God, so bad.
It's so bad. It's the worst performance in him. Anyway,
but I was gonna compare the pacing of this to Rogue Nation, where it's
Yeah.
similar, but Rogue Nation I feel like kind of falters towards the end, like after
That's
the underwater thing.
Yeah. That's
Forgetting what
entirely
everything's
yeah, after the oh man, what's it called? I don't remember. My memory's just blanking. Yeah, that thing. Yeah.
This feels like it's like constant, nonstop stuff is happening, but it's not like overwhelming. Like you still have time to breathe.
Yeah, This does give you breathing moments, which is nice.
This has probably my two favorite mask moments with the Wolf Blitzer.
Absolutely, and both of them are the same guy.
Yeah.
Go Benji! Like that's freaking
Benji
awesome.
Finally gets his mask moments.
Yeah, and he gets two of them, and I think they're two of the best ones in the series.
Yeah.
Like, especially since like they had Wolf Blitzer in was it 4 that he did? Yeah, it was 4. He's on the screen talking about the Moscow bombing.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, like that's the news report that he's one of the news reports that's being watched. Like, I am almost positive that Wolf Blitzer was in that movie. So for that to be like such a weird callback to that, but this time like they staged it and it's awesome.
What do you think of like the two big like Tom Cruise set pieces in this? The Halo jump and then the helicopter.
I think the helicopter one is majorly impressive. The Halo jump is cool, but it's fine. Like it's fine. But I think the helicopter thing, being that is literally him piloting it, that's amazing.
See, I do think they're both cool and impressive, but I think just like the motorcycle scene in the middle is better than both. And also,
the motorcycle scene's so good. Yeah, no, that's the best one. I completely agree.
But I mean, like, I don't know, like I always hear people talking about how like impressive and like insane these ones are, and they're just they are, but also they're not as fun to watch. Like,
that's fair. That's the thing. I think they're less fun to watch as opposed to the the Hydro Dome thing in the last one.
Yeah.
Or the scaling the
Burj Khalifa.
Burj Khalifa. Yeah. Scaling the Wiz Khalifa in the last one. Do yourselves a favor, kids, and don't watch the after party on Netflix. I finally saw the trailer. That looks terrible. Yeah. Like that looks painfully bad. But yeah, they're just not as entertaining. But just from a technical aspect, I think with it being public knowledge, so that's literally Tom Cruise flying the helicopter in just about every one of those shots is pretty awesome. Like that's pretty cool.
Like the more impressive part of that to me is when he's hanging from the supply drop on it.
Oh my god, yeah. That's awesome.
He's actually doing like
and he almost falls that one time. Yeah. It's so stressful.
And what do you think of Walker?
So okay. First off, I love him. I think he's fantastic. I think Henry Cavill crushes it in this movie. I think he's so good. I think that Walker is what Brant should have been.
How so?
And somewhere in the back of their mind, what they wanted Brant to be, where Brant is like a good opposite of, or where Walker is a good opposite of Ethan. Like he's a good opposite. Like he's not as efficient, but he's efficient in a different way. Like they're good plus sign and negative sign together, you know? I think that's what someone wanted Brant to be initially. And that fell by the wayside. But like the whole time I was watching, I was like, oh man, like this dynamic, like it's like a different version of the Brant Ethan dynamic in 4. Like it's the two of them together doing stuff, but instead of like Brant asking questions and not understanding how things are working, Walker is just talking down on like all that stuff and being like, no, like you guys are stupid. Like this isn't gonna work.
Like I like Walker a lot, but that's one of my problems is like I feel like that part of him is not thought out that well because it's just him being anti-Ethan because it's like
Yeah.
the Halo.
He's literally he's Venom.
Yeah.
He's literally just Venom in this movie. Like, he's the opposite. He's the bigger, badder, scarier version.
Yeah, but it's still like a shallow degree. It's like Brant I like because he's not like the opposite. He's just like trying to rationalize everything they're doing.
Yeah,
that's his
exactly.
Walker's not doing that. He's just like, no, you're stupid. I'm good. You suck. I'm better.
Yeah,
like that's all he is.
I feel like Walker is first draft Brant. That is the best way I could put it. I think he's first draft Brant.
He's too. It reminds me of like a jock in a bad high school movie.
That's
like
fair.
like another Spider-Man reference. He reminds me of
Flash Thompson.
Yeah, in the Amazing Spider-Man movies.
Oh, I was gonna say specifically like Joe Manganiello.
No, he's whatever. Like in Amazing Spider-Man, he's actively terrible. He's one of the worst characters I've ever seen on screen.
He is one of the worst characters. He's so, and there's such a weird turn in that first one for him, where like at the end he's like supposedly buddy with him. Oh, those movies.
Heard your uncle died.
Hey man, it feels good, right? You just hit somebody. Like, it's so weird. Man, I can't believe I liked that first one for a while. Yeah. Like, I'm watching it now and I'm like, what was I thinking? There is almost nothing in this movie.
It's so bad. But bad. Like, I almost hate Walker until it's like revealed later, and they're like, oh, he's Lark, so he's okay. Like,
I think that plays a lot better on the second time when you know, and then you're watching and you're like, oh, the whole time he's kind of just fucking with Ethan. Well, I mean, he's literally just fucking with him the whole time, and it's kind of funny.
I mean, even on the first time, like, you know that's happening. Like, they're not trying to hide that he's Lark at all. It's like,
no,
he's obviously fair. Like, because they set up, it's like, oh, who's Lark? And like your mind's like, oh, it's going to be this new guy they're introducing, and then you're like, oh, is that like a red herring? But then like, the first scene,
that was the thing. I really thought maybe it was just a red herring.
I thought that for a second, but then they're not trying to hide it all, which I think is good.
No,
like when,
which is really cool.
When he gives the evidence to Sloane, like it's got the bad guy music playing and everything.
Yep,
smart move.
Oh man, all right, let's talk about the elephant in the room. There is something specifically that the two of us need to talk about with this movie.
All right.
We need to talk about the Wes Bentley of it all.
I like actively dislike Wes Bentley, but he's fine in this.
He's fine in this, but literally the entire time he's there, I'm like, so when are we going to find out that he's a bad guy?
Yeah.
Even down to like the last 2 minutes of the movie, I'm like, so we're going to find out that he's a bad guy, right? Like he's going to shoot Julia right now. Like, like, why'd it have to be Wes Bentley?
I could do without like the Julia aspect of it.
I like the Julia aspect of it in that this is a nice final note on it. Like, now we will never see her again. She is done.
Hopefully.
And I like that. I like that it's it's what was an unanswered question is now answered, and a definitive answer, and we never have to discuss it again.
But I mean, what was the unanswered question?
Like, is there still a thing there? Like, does he still like Julia?
Well, I mean, I don't think that's ever a question. It's like I think the question would be like, does he want to go back to her?
Does he want to go? That's really the question. Yeah. Does he want to go back? And now we know that's not going to be a thing.
Because
good.
Like I said before, I didn't like the married Ethan aspect, and then I kind of don't like how it shows him like that he's been watching her, checking up on her at the end of 4.
Yeah.
And then going back to the dream sequence thing, I don't like how he's got these like precognitive dreams almost about her.
Oh man, kind of amazing though.
That's too much for me.
He's getting superpowers in this one. We didn't talk about that.
Yeah, that's too much for me. Like,
that's fair.
Cut that, and like, I mean, you can still keep the Julia stuff because they do it well. Like, it's good to show that he's kind of got his mind on other things while he's chasing Walker, and he's sort of like stressed out. And I like that she helps the team, even though I don't like
that bit.
I don't like the nuclear weapon storyline in this because it's obviously like they thought about that at the last second. It's not really a big deal to the plot, but
it's not important. It's just there. Yeah, it's almost a MacGuffin.
I mean, it's just such a cliche thing.
Yeah, but I really dig the Julia coming in and helping moment.
Yeah.
I think okay. We'll get to that in a second. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
Also, I still think Benji is a really bad field agent.
Yes, especially in this one. He is the least competent one.
Also, they kind of made Ilsa a little bit less competent, I feel like. Like, she's still really good. I mean, like, they didn't need to make her, like, get the crap kicked out of her by Solomon Lane, who probably shouldn't be in that good of a fighting state, seeing as how he's been locked up for 2 years, moved around. He's probably not super healthy.
That's fair.
But then both of them just getting beat up by Solomon Lane is kind of funny.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. That's why I'm fine with it. It's kind of funny.
I do like that they make him a competent, like, physical villain.
Yeah, I like that a lot. It kind of makes me, like, partially wish that we had seen him go up against Ethan in the last one. Just so I'm like, oh man, like he really is kind of British Ethan. Let's talk about a surprise performance in this movie. I've ragged on him this entire series. But I think Ving Rhames is really good in this movie.
Yeah, I do too. I actually got sad, like when he got sad.
Oh my! So I love it really has no place in this movie. But I love the Luther sitting down with Ilsa scene.
Oh, me too. Yeah,
I think that might be the best scene in the movie.
That leads into my next point. But yeah, let's keep talking about this.
Like that scene is just amazing. It was just him to sit down is like, and he tells Ethan's love history.
Yeah.
Like it really has no place in the movie. It's purely just for like, oh, in case someone just walked into this movie. But it's great. And he's like really good in it. Like when he kind of chokes up, he's like, listen, we're in this mess because Ethan wouldn't choose the rest of the world over me. You know, like he kind of chokes up. Like he's really good in this movie. It's between that and then when he's working with Julia later and like she comes up and they're on the comms like, wait, let her go. And he's like, where's she gonna go? Like, oh man, he's really good. Anyway, Ving Rhames, my hat is off to you. You've redeemed yourself in the eyes of this young black man.
Yeah. That going back to that scene where he's talking with Ilsa, that's another thing I don't like in these last two movies is like the relationship between Hunt and Ilsa.
I'm fine with it. It's Batman Catwoman.
It doesn't work. Like they don't explain it enough for me.
I'm fine with it. He's hot. She's hot. Hot people should be together.
It's not enough for me, especially when you throw in the ex-wife in this one. It's weird. It's a balancing act that is not being pulled off.
I think it's really interesting. I never noticed that Rebecca Ferguson and Michelle Moynihan look pretty similar. So Ethan Hunt has a type.
And then it's also weird because like he's flirting with the White Widow and she kisses it.
I don't think he's really flirting with her. I think she's flirting with him.
She's doing like 98% of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's still doing something back. Just the way he's talking to her is... Yeah. Macquarie's not good at that, I'm going to say that.
That's entirely fair. I don't know. I was cool with it.
Because also in like Jack Reacher, I don't like the weird relationship between him and Rosamund Pike.
Yeah. That is a weird relationship. It ends in a weird place. Yeah. I kind of want to blame Rosamund Pike for that.
No, it's 100% Macquarie.
Oh, that's fair.
It's actually okay. So,
she did what she could with what she had.
Yeah, like I don't like her that much, but like I do think she is good. Like especially after watching Gone Girl, Because in a lot of things, I think she's like a robot, but but Gone Girl's like, oh, she is like an immense.
She's so good in Gone Girl.
Talent.
God, she's so good. That's Fincher.
Also, I think part of this problem definitely goes with Tom Cruise too. Like, he. I don't
Tom Cruise doesn't understand relationships, so
yeah, and like I don't want to be that person, but like he tries to push to like make himself look more macho and stuff.
Oh yeah,
so
no, absolutely.
Relationship things,
absolutely.
And a lot of the time it's weird.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, but yeah, like all that, like his friendship stuff in these movies works way better than romantic interests.
Yes.
Like, I believe the love between him and Luther more than I do between...
Absolutely. Oh, let's talk about that, man. When they're in the fake hospital room with Nils de Broek and like Luther's holding him back, the sexual tension there? Like, man. Ooh.
This movie really got, like, the comedy nailed down.
Yeah, the comedy's really good in this.
Like in Rogue Nation, the comedy is in Rogue Nation, the comedy is really good, but then there's parts where it like takes a dive and they're going for this
where it comes really slapsticky. Yeah.
Like he finds the balance in this one.
Yeah.
Good.
It's a good movie. What did you think of the big Alec Baldwin moment?
I thought it was fine.
Not the death, but him helping out and being awesome.
Oh, that I like a lot. Yeah.
He's like, oh, like I understand why you guys are like doing these.
I liked it a lot, but then it's undercut by him being killed.
From the death. As soon as that happened, I was like, oh, okay, so Hanley's gonna die.
Yeah.
They're giving him his big moment right before he dies.
Yeah.
But he's really great in it.
He is. This movie plays with tropes really well. Like it's trying to like at first lead you to think that he is like gonna go against Ethan because all this,
right?
In every other movie that's happened, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like
also, that entire sequence is filled with tropes right there.
Yeah.
Because it's like that, and then it's they don't know that Walker is the bad guy. And then you find out, like, no, they know Walker is the bad guy. It's like, oh, Walker thinks like he's going to get away with this. And then you find out, like, no, Walker's not going to get away with it because it's Benji in a mask. Like, that scene has, like, 3 of those kind of, like, movie tropes right there. And they just buck them immediately, which is awesome.
I love the part right after that when he's, like, when Walker's making his way to the helicopter while Ethan is doing like that crazy chase through the buildings and stuff.
Yeah.
I love the whole time. Like
that's a good sequence.
For the whole like last half of the movie, Walker just doesn't know how close Ethan is behind him.
Yep. Like, literally the entire in
the helicopter scenes after that when he's going to like the safe distance to blow up the bomb and Ethan's behind him and he doesn't know it. He's
literally right behind him and doesn't know it until he tried to drop the payload on him, which I think is so funny. Like it's like, yeah, how you like this? Totally misses it. Like that's a good moment. Also, apparently the prick line was improvised.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Awesome. When they like fly their helicopters like right next to each other and like Walker sees that it's him and Cruz is like, yeah, prick.
That's great.
See, it's stuff like that I'm like, oh man, I kind of love that helicopter sequence. Like,
I like it's good, but like as far as like stunt wise, I don't really like,
it's not super dynamic because they still had to play it pretty safe. Like, because Tom Cruise is flying a helicopter.
But even then it's still like a safety setup, so they could have done crazier stuff. Like in the trailer, how it's got that scene where he's like,
with the truck.
Yeah.
See, it's funny because seeing the final cut, I don't think that shot has any place in it.
No, it doesn't. But I mean, like, you can still do these crazy things.
Yeah, exactly.
Things safe. He's not like literally crashing a helicopter and another helicopter. Like there's all these safety setups and stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But also like one of my disappointments with this one is there isn't a real like impossible mission. Like that's the closest thing where like they have to stop the bomb within like a certain time frame. But like every single other one has like a heist type aspect to it.
Yeah, well, I guess I mean taking Lane is kind of the heist, and we get to see that kind of twice.
Yeah, but it's like,
you know, like instead of that being like, now granted, there is not an impossible mission. I don't think there's
that's what I'm saying,
an
like,
impossible mission.
There's
but
like they don't set
that's
up
at
that
least the heist aspect, you know.
But they don't set up that it's going to be like crazy difficult. Like
That's fair.
Yeah, because like I mean, like in the previous one, he's got the underwater things. Like, oh, you just got to hold your breath for 2 minutes. He's like, well, actually 3 minutes.
That's true.
And then he actually dies. and
then he dies. Yeah, exactly.
And does it. And then the one before that, they've got the Burj Khalifa, and they've got the scene where
Sandstorm.
They've got the scene where Brant has to go into the computer system and all that.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. No, you're absolutely right. There isn't an impossible mission in this one. That's also kind of why this one feels more like a Bond movie.
This one definitely feels the most like a Bond movie.
Yeah, like this would be a really good Bond movie. Like tighten it up a little bit in a couple of places, it'd be a really good Bond movie.
Yeah.
We should talk about the break. We should talk about this is the movie where he actually really hurt himself.
Yeah. That's what, watching that scene.
And they use the shot.
they don't use the shot, though. That's the thing.
What?
There's a shot of him actually breaking his ankle, which they don't use.
Oh, no, they don't use that. But they do use a shot of him climbing up.
Yeah, because that's the only shot they have.
Stumbling away with the broken ankle. Yeah. And that is jarring enough.
Yeah. Like the whole time leading up to it, I was like kind of covering my eye because like I don't want to see a bone break right now.
Oh my god, I totally did though. I love it. That whole chase sequence is so good.
Yeah, it's really good. I love how
so good.
Benji has to keep like fixing his thing.
The screen.
Yeah, it's like, oh, sorry, it wasn't in 3D mode.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm jumping out of a window. It's like, you are? Yeah, that's a great chase sequence.
Yeah.
This movie has two really good chase sequences in it. That one, and then the stuff like in what is it, Paris or whatever?
Yeah.
Like that's a good chase sequence.
Whole sequence is so good. I love when he rolls into like I don't even know what it is, like the fountain looking thing.
Yeah.
Like where he cuts through the wiring and
So that leads me to my next point. It's actually probably my last point. This movie does something that no other Mission Impossible movie does, in that it has a couple sequences of just music and no dialogue.
Oh yeah,
like just music, no effects or anything, just music, and I kind of love that. Like that's one of them, because when he hops down and gets into the boat, then it's just pure score. And I'm like, ooh, this is cool. And then there's the one before that with the dream sequence of them taking of the heist of Solomon Lane.
Yeah.
And like him killing the cops and stuff. And that sequence is incredible.
I love that.
Like that is a great sequence, purely because there's no dialogue, like there's no action sounds or anything. Like it is just purely score. And the score is really good in this movie. Like it's really intense and like just nerve-wracking. It's like Dunkirk levels of nerve-wracking.
So Lorne Balfe. How would you rank the 6 movies?
Okay.
Since we're at the end.
I'm going to say, in order from top to bottom, I'm going to say Rogue Nation, Fallout, very, very, very closely followed by Ghost Protocol. I forgot the name. So Rogue Nation, Fallout, Ghost Protocol. 1, 3, 2.
So I think mine is Ghost Protocol still number 1. Okay. And then 1, then Fallout, then Rogue Nation, then 3, then 2.
It's funny how 3 is lower on our rankings now.
I was thinking about that because at the time it came out, it's very full of like all these tropes that JJ likes to use, and also that time period those things were being used. Like it doesn't do anything new really, and it's got it's still good. Like 2 is just like miles away the worst one.
Yes, absolutely. Like it's a lot closer on all of the other ones. Like it's a lot closer for me.
Like for me, Fallout and Rogue Nation could switch back and forth, but I feel like
honestly, yes, absolutely.
The tone is more consistent in Fallout, and
I completely agree. I completely agree.
And I put 1 higher than those because it sticks out from all the other ones, but not in a bad way.
Yeah,
and also
1 is really strong. I forgot how strong 1 is.
And then Ghost Protocol it gets like the fun aspect really well. It's got one of the weaker villains, but it's just I love the team dynamic so much and just the fun and the Burj Khalifa scene. It's gonna be hard to top.
It's hard to top. No, that's fair.
But yeah, like it's all very close with those top 4.
Yeah, I get that.
And like I said, 2 is the only one that I think is bad.
Yeah, 2 is the only bad one.
This is the last one. So, do you think as a series this works?
Yes, absolutely. Even with number 2 being in there, because it is a series of directors. It is a story of directors, and each one is pretty different. Even like 5 and 6 are pretty different. Like it like they have different elements to them, which is nice. I think it works because they're all stylistically different.
Yeah, I agree. And
they're all very much a story because of the directors and the people who make them, which is
cool. And I also think with 4, 5, and 6, the way they call back to the previous ones is really well done without being like in your face.
Yeah, agreed.
Overall, I think
good stuff.
It's a good series. And like, I still don't think Ethan Hunt is the most well thought out character, but I do like him a lot. I appreciate him more after rewatching all these movies. Like if you had asked me like at the beginning of the year if I liked Ethan Hunt, I'd probably be pretty just like whatever about him. But now I really appreciate him.
That's fair.
I have a huge appreciation for the team dynamic now.
They really made that work in the last 3. It's good movies. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned for our net. We got something special for you. So I've been Malcolm.
I've been Zach.
You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram. I am at Cat and Malcolm. Zach is at Boss Ross Jackson.
Yep.
And until then, light the fuse. Good night, everybody.
This has been a Geeks Rising production. Your executive producer of Vandrew Scott. For more information, head over to www.geeksrising.com.